Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael.
This is Cleve.
This is Stephanie.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of
Friendship Supreme.
Or the podcast that dares to ask if there's any tall tale in the world that you wanted to be remade into a film, what would it be?
That's already been answered for us here, Michael. You can see he's hanging out with Stephanie right now. He's going to be real quiet about today's episode, though. He's really just going to let us take charge.
You guys don't know, but we have that kind of clout. Also, I don't know how Stephanie would feel about having Terry Crews stand behind her with a sledgehammer the entire.
I'm still okay with it. I'm sure that he's nice enough. He wouldn't hurt me.
So much to my disappointment, the film we're going to be talking about today is John Henry, and it didn't have much to do anything with the action. Stephanie
Really?
had a whole plan in her head, and she just
really missed the cue there.
You could have made a J with your finger, I guess.
You know what I needed you to do is just go out of the frame.
Shoot your chair back. But no, what much to my disappointment had almost zero to do with the actual tall tale John Henry. Other than, well, we'll talk about it now.
A massive man with a hammer.
Yeah.
That was the connection. I mean, and then he was named John
He was
Henry.
named John Henry, so that's fair. Oh, there
you go.
Stephanie, you could have gone that way.
Yeah, you know, I saw the trailer for this movie. Stephanie's only seen the trailer for this movie, and I thought, this does not look like a good movie, but this does look like a fun movie. I'm going to watch it. And so Michael and I watched it, and tell me if you disagree, it was not a fun movie. Like, at all.
So if I could, you want like the shortest paragraph possible to describe this entire movie, if the last 10 minutes were the entire film, it would have been a great film.
I mean, I think you have to build some character. But
I saw some of the reviews that were like, the end was terrible. And I'm like, no, that's the part I wanted. So to me, it reminded me of like The Rundown, but less action.
I didn't get the rundown, but I get the kind of the rundown. They both kind of were helpful. Like, and this one, it was almost like, what am I thinking? It had a real fatherly figure road to it, but there's some I question completely. I think this was this guy's first thing that he'd done. John Forbes, the director.
Is he the Forbes of Forbes magazine?
The one and the same.
Okay.
It's his great grandfather, Gerald Forbes. I'll tell you what I thought about it in a minute. What did you think at all?
It wasn't a terrible movie.
Not terrible, no, because I've seen Cats.
It was not as good as Cradle to the Grave, but not as bad as the sequel to Cradle to the Grave.
So let me ask you this question, because at the end of the movie, it asked me to rate it, and I was like, I have a choice of up to 5 stars, and I sat there because 1 star, but it was not a 5-star. I went back and forth on, would I recommend this movie to anybody? And how much would you have to spend for me to say, yeah, it's worth watching? Because I asked you, because you saw it first, it was $6 to rent, $8 to buy, and you told me to rent it.
Was I wrong?
Not necessarily, because I don't think I need the movie. Definitely like one time, and I'm good with it.
Right. You saw it once. You know what it's about. You know its life. And you can go on about it. And to see what the sequel to Cradle of the Grave was, and I think it was just Cradle of the Grave 2.
Yeah, he's only directed this movie. So that's for a first out, I don't think it's bad at all.
No, I mean it wasn't terrible. It was like a generic, like a super generic movie. Here's the thing. So, like, I'll get into like how I really felt about it. The problem I had with it was I actually like the Tall Tale of John Henry, as I told you, and had you go watch that Disney short.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, there was.
I guess we could have had Stephanie watch the Disney short too.
That's true. Well, you don't have to watch it, Stephanie, but there is a Disney short, and I don't know if you remember it. I believe, sadly,
just so she can see the other
contrast.
sides of the realm that these two are in. So, I'll wait till. Are you looking for it?
I was going to look something up real quick. I'm pretty sure I know what film it came before, but I just want to make sure I know. Did it not come before any? Was it just a part of the Legend series? That's possible. Yep, it was. Okay. So, John Henry, the Disney short came up in like this. They had American Legends, like Disney animators made a bunch of different, and Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan, and John Henry. And so they have this John Henry short showing kind of the telltale pretty quickly, or the tall tale. And it's well done. The music's good. The animation is well done. It's right along the same lines of when they had just done Mulan, so similar animation style.
Mm-hmm.
Really beautifully done. I don't know. I liked it. The problem I had with the movie was, as I stated, not a lot of relation to the Tall Tale, but like Cleve said, his name was John Henry, so cool. I get it. But at the very end, they ended up making a line that happened. Like, I got over the whole, oh, this is not John Henry. This is just going to be about a guy named John Henry until the very end. As Ludacris, and who's the bad guy in this, his name is Hell. He has a jaw with a golden piece on it because John Henry shot him in the face.
With diamonds on it.
He's a little studded, yeah. But Hell says a line that then unfortunately brings everything back and then does frustrate me. And what he said was, it's not enough to kill someone, you have to kill what people believe in. So the whole concept of John Henry was that it was a tall tale that was told to give people inspiration in the early frontier years. Basically, the tale is that these people were promised land if they were to finish the railroad. Then all of a sudden the railroad basically told them, hey, you're not useful anymore. We've got machines that'll do your job. And John Henry said, no, I'll do this. If I can beat you, then I get the land that you promised all of our people. The company says, yep, no problem. Great, we'll do that. And he dies doing it. He exerts every ounce of energy he has, completes his mission, does it, builds the railroad faster than the machine can, and gains the land for everybody. And it's supposed to be the idea that if you put your mind to it, no matter what you do, you can complete something or be better than they say you can be. And so it was this idea, it was a belief that people had in John Henry that made them feel like they were stronger than they really were. So the idea of saying it's not enough to kill someone, you have to kill what they believe in. And then all of a sudden you saw they showed faces of other people, and it was almost like John Henry was meaningful, or was like a pinnacle in the community, or not a pinnacle, he stood in the community, like the community knew him. And I would tell you, watching the entire film, never did I get that feel. Never once was I like, oh, the community likes John Henry. It was more like John Henry was a hermit. Like that random girl he ran into was like, oh, I liked you and I still like you. Like, contact me. That's it.
Yeah. To me, she could have not been in the entire movie.
Agreed.
She brought really nothing except to be his hand at the end.
Right.
That was it. But I get what you're saying, but at the same time, they kind of established, like, you know, they kill people and then they take the bodies because they want people to, like, feel that loss. Like, you'll forever have to just question if that person's still alive or whatever. So it didn't hit that part for me necessarily. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, about
the way he said
taking
it
back
to
the
me.
old story.
Yeah, the way he said it to me just felt like, oh, we have to take what the community believes in. And had they built on that, I think it would have been better. Had they spent less time building on the two people that came to his, or well, the one person that came to his door because the other person dies almost immediately. But had we not focused on that person and instead focused on the fact that the community really looked up to John Henry, like he was that one person that wasn't going to join the gangs no matter what. He was kind of the Luke Cage, where Luke Cage, like, they kept coming to him like, hey, join our crew. He's like, no, I'm not going to. I stand for righteousness and blah, 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 blah. Had he been the ideal citizen in that community and said, I'm not going to do this, and everybody kept looking up to him, the last scene would have made more sense to me. Like, they just kept panning to other people, and they were looking on John Henry dying, and, like, they looked genuinely impacted, whereas lots of people had died before in scenes and nobody cared.
Maybe it was like watching it.
Yeah, true.
That, and to me it was like because it was like daytime when that scene takes place, where it's like the final showdown. And to me, the most gangster thing you can do is just tear somebody up in public in daytime.
Yeah.
And B, not be the one to do it, but everybody still understands you're the one doing it.
Yeah, out in the wide open where people are just, watching happen.
10 witnesses. Nobody's going to say anything.
Tell me that you didn't watch this, and in the beginning when his dog get hit, you didn't say, oh, fuck, it's John Wick. Like, his dog gets hit by a car, by a gangster in the gang of hell, and like he's walking away with it, like you can see tears kind of coming down his eyes and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay.
He just put the final nail in the doghouse that he built for this dog. My first note says award for earliest dog death.
It was so quick.
Like, real talk, 2-3 minutes, maybe.
Easily.
And, okay, and another thing, too, like, I understand it wasn't directly connected to the John Henry of Legend story, but it was more a namesake than it was, like, a retelling.
And it was, and you're right, because the dad even said, the reason I named you was because you were so strong.
John Henry strong, right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's, but like I said, and then that part I was fine with. Like, I finally separated myself from the tall tale until I heard Ludacris say that line, and then I kind of felt like we could have built him as this idol for them to have looked up to, of righteousness, I guess, and then killed him.
Yeah, I kind of like the hermit idea a bit more, just because I feel like the staple in the community standing against the big drug lords is kind of like a overdone. Yeah. So also this kind of had a feel to me that Gran Torino did.
Yeah, I can see that. It felt very Gran Torino-ish. Yeah, I could see that. Either
of you saw that movie, but it's a guy who's just kept to himself and took in this young. So, Steph, the movie, in a quick speed, immigrant girl comes from Honduras.
Oh, Honduras, you're right.
Is captured and used as a prostitute, and then she gets out and ends up on John Henry's door with him and his father. His cousin that he shot in the face is the head drug lord, and he gets money from him and says, "Hey, you have 24 hours to get out of here." They gave us that window of time. They lie and come in and just start butting, and then John Henry stands up to them and eventually kills him after other shenanigans ensue in between. But that was basically the whole movie. I mean, I don't think I missed a key point.
Not really, no.
There's small details in the movie, but that's the whole movie. I think it's a solid 5 out of 10.
It is a very much rent it, watch it. You can go on with your life without ever seeing it again.
Or never watch it again, and you can also go on with
you never know.
You're not going to run into somebody who's going to go, I cannot believe you've not seen John Henry.
But it was worth seeing just so that I could see Ludacris with a gold jaw.
That was interesting. Also, this movie came out
this year?
Because you've not heard this, Stephanie, right?
You cut out a little bit. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Stephanie, you've not heard any of this at all? Have you ever heard of this movie even coming out?
No.
It
I
came out.
thought when you sent it to me, I was like, is this a new movie coming out?
It came out January 24th of this year, and I never heard anything about it.
Never.
In fairness, a lot of stuff's been going on this year, but it did not. I don't think it went to theater.
But that's what I'm saying.
There you go. You know who made it? Saban.
They did.
So,
I also have a note here when John wakes up in a nightmare and the girl's in the room and it freaks him out. And he
yells at her and he's like, you don't understand what it's saying.
Right, but to be fair, like she just woke up and turned on the light. He woke up and had a nightmare and kind of laid there for a minute, and then he heard a cough in the room. Turned on the light and she was there. But he shares his art with her. And she comes over and she's smiling and she speaks Spanish and they don't understand each other. But then he turns a page and he's talking and he looks and she just disappears like a fucking ghost. Like no trace whatsoever. I don't know what the door didn't close. It was like a figment of his imagination. It was weird.
Character.
Say again?
I said she was an interesting character. I really expected her. At one point in time, you see her in like I guess a pimp's house. I don't know, because the three girls laying there were obviously sex workers, and I really expected her to be the one that just went ape shit, like snapped and then started murdering people, because she just looked deranged. But her brother comes and saves her. He died immediately, by the way. Not Oscar, but the other one. The one that brought him, or the one that they showed up in his doorstep.
Yeah, he got like a night on the film, and then they did away with him.
He opened the door and just blam, done.
And I was like, that sucks. She lost both her family members. And then, shocking surprise.
For whatever reason, also Stephanie, Ludacris really likes to murder people with a blowtorch.
Mm-hmm. That's his weapon of choice. But he also has like the gas thing.
He does. He carries like a little gas tank around with it.
It's not like, there's like the one that is just a can and then the little flame comes out of there. It's like a tube and it goes to one like on wheels on the ground. It's very not mobile.
It's less intimidating because to me, when it comes out, it looks like an oxygen tank to me.
It does look like an oxygen tank. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, okay, so he's got trouble breathing because he got shot in the face.
Ludacris ends up dying because his right hand man, which is actually a woman, is like he turns on her. It's like, kill her. I'm done with her. And they don't. And she goes outside, and John Henry busts her kneecap, and he doesn't kill her. So then she decides that means it would be funny to watch Hell die instead.
Well, how it started was when they go into the house to kill everybody, she shoots John Henry in the head.
Yeah.
Maybe it skimmed him. I don't know, but he definitely went.
He had blood marks here, but then there was no bullet wound or anything. It was just like, hey, we took some ketchup and squirted it on your face.
Basically. So they used the budget for all the other headshots.
Yeah, fair.
But Ludacris gets mad at her because she was supposed to let him live so that he could watch him blowtorch the sex worker girl that escaped in the face. So that's why he was mad. And then he was going to kill them. And then they heard John Henry coming, and he was like, okay, never mind. I'm not going to kill you right now. You go kill him. And she's like, no, you were just about to kill me. So I'm not going to do that. And he was like, you better go do it. And she was like, all right.
She was. Like, okay, yes.
But, so the cousin that died, or the stepbrother, half-brother? I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Half-brother, yeah.
He goes up, and Terry Crews just, puts his hand on his shoulder, and it's down. And all I could think was, that was my other note is, when a man like Terry Crews puts his hand on your shoulder, you stay seated. You don't move at all. Because he wants you to be where you are, and that's where you are now.
Terry Crews looked less intimidating in this film until he was walking down the street with a sledgehammer.
You know why?
I think they purposely did it.
They give him an old man scruff.
Yeah.
And then he shaved it, and then he looked scary.
Well, also the fact that he's walking down the street with the sledgehammer.
That helps.
It did terrify the shit out of me.
There was a driving scene where he was like driving around that we didn't need at all. We were just padding time at that point. It was like shots of the city and then him driving, and then
I
shots
think
of the
they wanted
city.
to show you that they were in Compton, so you knew that they were serious. Okay,
Got you. I
they
do.
really needed you to know it was in Compton.
Real talk, I know, because Compton is a scary place.
What's interesting is, by the way, if you ever need to go to a cruise terminal in San Diego, if you use GPS coming from Northern California, you get sent through Compton, no matter what. It's the fastest way.
That's okay.
I've gotten gas in Compton. I've eaten in Compton. It's not that terrible. It's about the same as
but it also is that terrible. Like, I hear what you're saying, and I'm sure there are very safe streets.
It's like Detroit.
However,
I don't mind Detroit.
I'm sure there's a block or two that you didn't go down or you wouldn't go down for a specific reason. So, Stephanie, let me tell you about the father character. So, he's in a wheelchair, oxygen mask, right? He speaks Spanish because he dated some Spanish girl in high school, and he learned it for her. So he's like the communication between John Henry and Berta is the girl's name. Yeah. And when they come to shoot down the house, he gets up and starts walking.
That was super. The whole thing was ex machina. Him knowing Spanish. No. He was like, I know Spanish because I try to sleep with a Puerto Rican girl. No.
I can deal with that one.
To the point where he can understand conversational Spanish, I don't believe it. It takes longer than a year to know conversational Spanish. Like, I can tell you biblioteca, baños, cerveza, hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo es Miguel. But to be able to full out just have conversations with her in Spanish, because he was like sitting there listening to her talking full sentences and like, this is what she said.
But he's also like 70-something. So, I mean, there's time to have learned it.
But yes, no, they come to his house and he's like, I can walk. And Terry Crews is like, well, you can't walk. And he goes, adrenaline. Done. That's it. Yep, that makes sense. But
did you ever think that you would hear the line, and it brings me to note number 4.
2 best parts in the entire movie, and this is one of them.
I'm BJ Henry, and my dick is legendary. And then he blows up the kitchen.
What?
There were 2 moments in this entire movie that actually had me smile from ear to ear. And it was, my dick is legendary, because that's what you scream when you kill someone and you know you're going to die. The second part was those 2 guys in the car talking before John Henry came to murder him with a hammer.
So, did you realize that those 2 guys are both in the show Black Jesus?
No.
The one in the passenger seat is the one that plays Black Jesus, and the other one is like just another character in the show. But I thought it was funny that both of them were in there.
I wasn't even paying attention to that, but that makes it funnier. But they were just having the most random conversation.
So Steph, the story behind the line is the stepbrother who came back for the half sister is saying, it's not fair, that you get to keep your gun and I had to put my gun away, because John Henry doesn't touch guns because of the time he accidentally shot his cousin in the face. Understandable. Yeah. So the dad goes, is it fair that I had a stroke at 50-something and now I'm numb from the waist down? No, it's not fair. And he was like, I had sex with girls here, I had sex with girls there, my dick was legendary. He goes, and now it don't work no more. That's not fair, but that's life. And so that one scene
2 days later, he brings it back up
here where he gets shot in the chest or shot in the back with a shotgun that went through a table. And he'd already been shot a couple times, excluding that one. Looks through the hole and sees the gas can, stands up. My name is BJ Henry, and my dick is legendary. Pow! and blows up the kitchen with the people in it.
Yeah, he shot at this oxygen tank.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No,
So
it
much
was
sense.
done. That was it.
But you know what? I know what I'm putting on my dad's tombstone. Like that. That was his last words. That was that man's last words before he
He
died.
looked at his son and said, "Go!" Like with this meaningful moment, and then turned around and talking about his dick. Damn.
Also, discount Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. That's okay because young Hell looked a lot like
The guy from Sister Sister.
yeah. Thank you. I can't remember his name right now, but yes.
By the way, Hell's real name is Helen. His first name's Helen. So obviously, if you're a drug lord, you can't be named Helen. So he goes by Hell. Three more notes. I like that things were going down, and Terry Crews was like, "I need to shave to get serious," and he had a whole shaving montage.
That wasn't even in the trailer. That's how important that moment was.
It's like putting on a mask.
Yeah. Okay.
I like when Terry Crews started banging through the wall, and Ludacris was like sitting on the throne, and he's like I'm on a cool throne, but I look super concerned in the face. Like this man walked in with so he just walked down the street with a sledgehammer and was just. You never saw full contact because I'm sure it wasn't in the budget for it, but there were splats everywhere. It was like
two guys were sitting in the car, Stephanie, and they were talking about Human Centipede for some reason, and it was great.
They did do that.
It was easily the second best moment in the entire movie for me.
It's not saying tons.
He did. He got out of the car though, and Solomon's like, "Hey, you can't be." He's like, "This is a bad day to be crazy," and Terry Crews took his sledgehammer and just right across the face. Also, Ludacris died outside his house.
Oh, and Michael didn't finish it, but the way he died, or maybe he did. I wasn't paying attention. The way he died was his little blowtorch thing went around his ankle, and he tripped.
He did. He ran like a little girl.
That's how he died.
And then Terry Crews went, "Boom."
Head hammer Gallagher.
That's what it was. It was like everything was like, here's where their head would be, and then just blood came out on the side.
Yep.
Light pole, tree, palm tree, and then he died with his hammer in his hand. Maybe he lived.
The girl in Oscar really just felt kind of. No, he dies. That is him dying.
Because it gave a little squeeze.
Oh, maybe. That's just it, though. Like, it's supposed to, again, tie in back to the Tall Tale. The very end, I feel like it tied into the Tall Tale. That he dies with his last breath doing what he wanted to do to save his community.
Right. I'm looking on here for, a budget, and I'm finding nothing.
I think Ludacris and Terry Crews had to do a pro bono.
I mean, they were executive producers. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, well...
You didn't notice that?
No. They're all just sitting in a circle one day and saying, "Hey, you want to do this movie? Yeah, I'd like to do this movie. You want to do this movie?"
Okay, so I also wrote down little side questions.
Yep, go.
That I wanted to ask you. Would you watch this movie again?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Only if I was watching it with someone else that hadn't watched it. Does that feel fair?
That's fair. Is Terry Crews a lead actor?
Could be. I think, and not because of this, I actually think because of, I like his work in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think that we could simply focus in on him, and he would be a good character.
But he's always a side character. And he's gone on record saying, "I will take a small role in an amazing movie than do John Henry," apparently.
That's why he did Deadpool.
And John Henry?
No, I mean, he did Deadpool and was like a secret in the whole thing. Deadpool 2, he was a secret, never told anybody, didn't tell his family, and then it came out and they're like, "Hey, why didn't you tell us you were in this?"
Yeah, and Training Day and
Well, I think you were the one that told me that training days where you got to start, isn't it?
Yes. He was security guard, and some guy was like, "Hey, you're big. Do you want to be in a movie?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, can you stand over there in a wife beater and look really tough?" And he goes, "Yeah." And that's what he did. And every day he came in to do security, and they're like, "Okay, come on, we're gonna use you today."
Tell me that man couldn't have been Debo. Could have
For
been
sure.
Debo better than Debo was. Debo, by the way, we've talked about this before. He's doing cameos. That's not good.
They look so rough. What's your favorite Terry Crews role?
I mean, it's not fair, but I think White Chicks.
Fair.
Because I enjoy watching him sing that song.
To me, that is where they realize he could be a comedic actor.
Yeah, I think he did well in Gridiron Gang, which I think was before it.
Was he in Gridiron Gang?
Cheeseburger Eddie. Was that not Gridiron?
The Longest Yard.
Longest Yard, sorry.
With The Rock?
Two prison movies with football players. I mean, come on.
One of them's Juveniles.
Oh, that's fair. Damn it, I forgot.
So prison's a strong word.
Too much of the bourbon.
Oh, bourbon.
No, sorry, you're right. Longest Yard.
He was in Bridesmaids?
Briefly, that feels right. He was.
Was he in like an instructional dancer? No, that was what was that?
He was the boot camp. Remember they showed up to the boot camp?
Yes.
I believe that was that movie.
Oh yeah, boot camp instructor.
Yeah, they showed up to do it for free, and they're in the background. He's like, "Come on, guys, it's only $10." No, Cheeseburger Eddie, I feel like was so Longest Yard. I think was before Bridesmaids, and I think he did well as Cheeseburger Eddie. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Oh my god. Okay, so there was a movie he was in called Gamer with
yep.
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler, yes.
And he was like the bad guy, not the bad guy, but like the bad guy's henchman, like right underneath the bad guy, right? And he's this scary guy the entire time. And then towards the end, he's like they find a way to make him flex his pecs and do the robot every time. And then he didn't do it in this movie.
Man. And I think you and I have talked about this before, Cleve, but in case you're wondering, Stephanie, amazing dad, by the way. He is super athletic, was in the NFL. I don't remember who he played for. Do you know?
He was like on a couple of practice squads. Yeah. I don't think he ever made it official.
Yeah, I don't think he ever went like into the league, but he was playing for teams or did practice. But very athletic man. He has multiple children, I believe, but I know that his youngest child, he was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to play football, basketball? What do you want to play? And the kid was like, I don't want to do any of that. I actually am really interested in video games. And he's like, cool, tell me more. So this kid tells him all about this video game that he likes to play, which is League of Legends, and I believe vaguely telling the story. But Terry Crews goes out and builds 2 brand new computers for him and his kid. Thousands of dollars into these computers and says, all right, let's we're going to be serious about this. And now for whatever reason, Terry Crews is super into esports, goes to all these events and hangs out with his kid, loves it. And it's neat to see someone that is super athletic, because I was showing Cleve last night an article that from the World Health Organization that essentially says that all video gamers are going to look like deformed human beings because they play video games.
Yeah, I saw that. They're like hunchbacked.
Yeah.
And
by the way, the model's name is Michael, and it's kind of hurtful, but that's fine. Whatever, no big deal.
What does it spell? Michael spelled differently?
It is spelled the normal way. I say correct, but the normal way, Michael. But regardless, still named Michael. But it's nice to always see like athletic people being like, I like video games, which is the same thing with like pro athletes. I've watched a lot of people lately playing Madden and NBA that are actual athletes of that sport.
Well, what I think is interesting too is like, yeah, great dad, but also very human and has had his own little run-ins with controversy.
Yeah.
with his wife and the whole scandal there, and then he spoke on something that he shouldn't have. One of those things where it's like he very well could have just kept quiet, but spoke on it, and the internet tore him up about it. Of course.
Man, today's day and age that we live in, and this episode's obviously not about that, but I'm going to talk about it for a second. Today's day and age, it's really tough to live in because there's not a thing that you say or a thing you do that, especially if you're famous. Obviously, we, of our own volition, record ourselves talking, so it's kind of our fault if we say something stupid. But people that are famous can get caught saying something in a private conversation that may be taken out of context or, unfortunately, may just not be the most intelligent thing to say at that time and just get run with. And people's lives are ruined because of it. And I'm not saying like stuff like, what's his name, Liam Neeson, where Cleve and I have talked about how he used to just troll around his hometown looking for black people to beat up. But there are people that have had just conversations where, and we're not talking locker conversations like Donald Trump. People keep trying to say that was, locker talk. But genuinely, I think just something that is kind of passing conversation with people and not thinking about what you said and then immediately just ruin your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently it was something that had to do with Gabrielle Union, who was like, there was racism and sexism on the show America's Got Talent, and he's the host on that show, and he was like, I can't speak on the sexist side of it because I'm not a woman, but on the racist side of it, I don't see really anything wrong, or I've never been treated wrong or anything like that. And it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, but you can never tell someone that something didn't feel away, and so that's what he kind of got bit in the butt for.
Especially
and
in today's day and age, you can't really say that no, you didn't feel that way. Like, and that's fair.
Oh, and you don't have to be a woman to, as a guy who looks like you do. But I mean, don't get me wrong, he looks like a bulldog, but he's a huge. I'm sure he is not in a realm where he doesn't have to worry. Like I'm sure women are hitting on him. I'm sure it's not like people are leaving him alone.
Remember when Donna in Parks and Rec says she wants to give someone a tongue bath?
Yes.
It's not like Terry Crews has never been told that before.
Right.
No, I mean, and that in itself is something that is a whole other world or topic, is that there is a lot of focus on one over the other, but the other way does happen.
Right. Well,
but regardless, it's tough to say, like, hey, you shouldn't feel that way because that's not how it is. In today's society, we are much more in tune, or are supposed to be more in tune with the idea that your struggle doesn't mean that just because I might not see it as a struggle doesn't mean that one of you doesn't see it as a struggle.
Well, and I mean, Brooklyn Nine-Nine has an entire character that's dedicated to hitting on him every moment of every day, even though she knows he's married.
Right.
Also, Gabrielle Union's not like this little peon person that
I'm unfamiliar with who she is. I know she's
you will when you
someone, I feel like
Dwayne Wade, I believe.
Yep, there it is. She used to be married to Dwayne Wade, I feel like.
I think she still is. They had their own problems too.
The Three Kings. In case you're ever wondering, the three kings are Dwayne Wade, Kevin Bosch, and LeBron James. Yeah, she does look familiar. When they used to play for Miami, Stephanie. They played for Miami Heat. It's a basketball team.
Is that a better looking picture?
It does look familiar.
Yeah. She's been in stuff. I mean, like, there's not a favorite movie that I have that she's done. She was in Bad Boys 2. She was the sister.
Cleve and I spent the second day of my bachelor party watching Bad Boys 2 on repeat.
We went
4 times?
We went too hard day one.
We went so hard on day one, it wasn't good.
Bring It On.
Is she the lead cheerleader?
Yeah. On the urban school.
I don't know why you just said.
I was just singing that the other day.
Cradle to the Grave is what she was in.
I love Cradle to the Grave.
That's why I thought it was funny.
Let's go give it to you.
those were the things that.
That's what she's in.
I mean, she's in a lot, but
she's in Cradle to Grave. She dies because she smokes what she thinks is crystal meth, but actually, or maybe Angel does. But anyway, smokes what she thinks is a drug and actually ends up being battery acid. So she has a seizure and dies.
you gotta stay away from the oopsie whoopsies.
Yikes! So this is wildly taking a turn from John Henry. But
Well, you had to know who Gabriel Union was. Those are the things I mentioned. The things that I think that you would know. Other things were either like super girly movies. Not that Bring It On wasn't, or
right.
I don't know.
Everyone loved Bring It On.
I don't know a better way to say to you guys more black movies. So more black movies.
I did mix up 2 Tyler Perry movies the other day. He gave me shit for it. Damn it. Terry Crews. So I'm thinking about this. Terry Crews, because you asked me if he could be a serious role or a main character.
Lead actor.
He could be in anything that Dwayne The Rock Johnson was in. Anything. I think they're the same as far as acting goes. They're just as goofy, and both are just as serious.
I think Dwayne Johnson's first movies, he took very seriously.
Let's not forget he was also in Game Plan and The Tooth Fairy.
His first movies, like The Gridiron Gang or Walking Tall, those movies, he really took like a serious tone to them. But yeah, after that, yeah, it's
I think that Terry Crews can be as serious as he wants to be. I think, and this movie kind of proves it. I don't think there was a moment where he was not serious, and I believed it. Like there was no report. I don't blame any of this movie on him. And I almost don't blame it on Ludacris. I actually like Ludacris as an actor. And I think that he should have done more, but I think that he never will do more.
I don't think he was a bad villain. I think he played it well.
None of them were bad.
He was intimidating, but if I have flames shooting across my face as I walk towards you, but with my little oxygen mask or oxygen tank.
I think both of them were Netflix quality superhero and villain. They could have easily interplaced any other superhero and villain in a Netflix series and been okay. I think that Terry Crews, with a little bit of like building up, could eventually get to, because again, I compare him to Dwayne The Rock Johnson mainly because of build, and I think that their acting is very similar because I think The Rock sucks at acting. He really does. Let's be honest. They put him in 2 roles. That's it. We put him around the same surroundings every time. It's either a building or a fucking jungle. And that's it. And every time we put him in the same shit. But I think that because he was a wrestler and he built a following from that skyrocketed him into being better. Because Terry Crews is also a very attractive guy. Like, he's not an ugly fella. I
think The Rock's better looking than him.
He is more Hollywood looking than Terry Crews was.
But, okay, so here's how I feel.
Terry Crews' face will never look better than what it is right now.
This is it, bud. You've maxed out. But here's the thing. I think that you're right. I think he did get a huge following from wrestling because that is where my initial love came from him as well. But I think that in his wrestling career as the Rock character, he showed a level of charismatic, like electricity, that I've not really seen Terry Crews put out.
Why has no other wrestler been able to capture that? John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin have both tried and failed.
Does that speak to the level that Dwayne brings? Because let me tell you,
smart. I will give you that.
The more he's gotten into comedy, the better I think he's gotten. But there's also the movies where, like, he's the Central Intelligence with him and Kevin Hart, where I think he is genuinely a good character.
Put Terry Crews next to Kevin Hart. We're good to go.
You put everybody next to Kevin Hart, man.
Right.
Malcolm in the Middle's dad was next to Kevin Hart. We put Will Ferrell next to Kevin Hart, even though he didn't need to. But that's my point. But I'm looking through his.
I had to tell you who Bebop and Rocksteady were. And it was the wheelchair guy, the kid's dad, and Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes.
Sheamus from wrestling.
I'm looking through like
Stephanie,
Terry
I found
Cruz's
someone
movies.
that's easily whiter than you. It's Sheamus from WWE.
Who is?
His name is Sheamus. Go look him up right now. From the WWE World Wrestling Federation.
Entertainment.
No, Entertainment now.
WWE?
Yeah, sorry.
Because like I'm looking through Terry Cruz's IMDb. Never was he in the front. You know what I
Main
mean?
character, yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean,
and
he's definitely whiter than me.
that's fine because Luis Guzma we talked about. I mean, whole career on Danny Trejo, whole career on not being the main guy except for Machete. That
Which,
one time he
I
did one
feel
thing.
like John Henry was like El Machete.
I could see that.
Are you
Yeah, no,
sure?
we don't.
Sheamus?
Doesn't
Don't worry,
sound-
I'll put a picture somewhere here because there's a lot of black space down below. I'll put
Yeah.
it.
Make sure it's there in the beginning so people who are watching are like, "What the fuck, Sheamus got to do?"
Sheamus is there the whole time.
Like,
And it just says underneath him, listen to understand.
Like, does he sponsor this? Is he coming?
In fairness, Terry Crews is right behind Stephanie right now.
And he's held that pose like only his muscles could. Yeah, I just feel like he always plays a gentle giant to me. So, or a psychopath. So I've never seen him play outside those roles, which I think is where The Rock has a little bit more on the acting chops because he is more fun with it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, he's a lighter character, but in the same aspect, though.
It's not about skin tone, Michael.
Terry Crews could be. Got me.
No, but I don't think The Rock is a good actor. He really his whole model is the whole Irish pride thingy.
Yeah, but
Why are you fondling him?
You
No, I'm
put your
just
hand
like-
next to his crotch.
This is my skin tone next to his.
Well, now I'm gonna take a picture of Stephanie and cut it out and put it on James's body.
He plays Rocksteady, which is kind of weird, and
I mean, he looks
I get
like
it.
a
I liked hearing his Irish accent the whole time. It was weird to me because I didn't expect that. But
yeah.
anyways, John Henry's
But Terry Crews
was a bad movie, man.
it wasn't a bad movie, but I will probably never watch it again.
No, I think
Look-
it's
There's a reason I rented it and I don't own it.
it's not Biker Boys, which I watch on a daily.
That can't have aged well.
Biker. Can we go back and you know what? Can we get a 3-way party thing where we watch it together and just film that?
We could be on here and then just all press play at the same time.
Okay, good.
But we all need access to Biker Boys?
I'll buy it for every one of us right now.
There's 3 Amazon packages going out as we speak. You know, usually I would-
it's with a Z, by the way, in case you're wondering. If you
Oh, I
need to
know.
spell it, Stephanie, BIKERBOYZ. That's how you know it's serious.
You do it. If you're going to do it, you do it with a Z.
Oh, it's only $3 on YouTube to rent it right now.
I mean, that's too much.
Nah, bro. I'll pay $12 right now. Oh, wait. I can do math. $9 right now for it's playing it right now. I didn't even have to buy it. Oh shit, Orlando Bloom's in it. I forgot.
How did you find this picture?
This is a picture that exists on the internet.
No, not Orlando Bloom's. Orlando
Jones?
Jones from Evolution is the only movie I can think of him in right now.
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom.
This is Elf.
Yeah. Okay, from Lord of the Rings. Got you.
Yeah, Legolas. Wait a minute, is that King Triton in the back?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just Google Terry Crews, and that's like one of the top
Giving
images.
Stephanie a green screen is the best thing that's ever happened out of her. It's the best contribution she's ever made. It's all the weird shit she's putting on a green screen.
I changed my answer. My favorite Terry Crews is Old Spice Terry Crews.
That's fair. But I like the other guy.
Because they let him, which the charismatic one?
This is me on a horse. This is, look at me, look at your husband.
Screw that guy, man. That man traitor.
Okay.
I don't need to be comparing myself to him.
But anyways, would you make Stephanie watch John Henry?
Yes.
Stephanie, are you willing to go watch John Henry and come back and let us know how you felt about it?
Sure. Like, not right this second.
Do we have to pay for it for you?
Yes.
So John Henry.
1 out of 10. A solid 5. Yeah, I'm on board.
Hard 5. Hard 5. It is a.
If you watch it, you won't be sad. But if you don't watch it, you're okay.
It is a quarantine movie.
Ah, fair.
The world has to be on fire. God, that
both of them together?
That tiger is full of nightmares.
Oh man, he's seen things. Yep, no, it was a solid movie. I think it's worth watching once.
I'm disappointed that I went into this movie thinking I was going to get a lot of dumb, fun action. I did not.
I was watching this movie expecting a lot of Sledgehammer. And it didn't happen until the last 10 minutes.
I mean, but when it did, it did.
It did, but I'm telling you, I needed that 10 minutes to be the entire film.
There were 2 sledgehammers to the head and 1 to the knee, I believe.
Yeah.
That's some good sledgehammering.
Here's how I would have ideally had it played out. The first 15 to 20 minutes been, oh, I shot my cousin. He's deformed and now he's a gangster kingpin thing. This random girl from Honduras is on my front step and I need to protect her. That's 20 minutes. The rest, the next 60 minutes, needed to be him beating people up with the sledgehammer.
Also, the sledgehammer played no part in it until the end.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he wasn't known for it.
No.
It wasn't like he had a job where that's what he did. It was just like
a random sledgehammer in his garage and was like, yes, this is it.
Even that's half the trailer.
Even in his childhood memories where he's just strong, it's only the fact that his hands are like bullets and nothing.
Yeah, which is not a good way to say it, I feel.
No.
Why does he need a sledgehammer if his hands are so strong?
Right.
But
because he's got to
willing to switch sledgehammers instead.
Because he's got to break a gold plate on someone's face, and you can't do that with your fist. So you break.
What did you think of the animated short that you watched, Steve?
I thought that was really good. Yeah. I think it's interesting that of all the Disney remakes that we were putting out in the world, that we've not touched this at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need Lady and the Tramp again. I wouldn't mind seeing a full, lengthy, put in all your effort into a John Henry movie.
Bringing up fucking goddamn animation being put into real live action. Have you seen the latest announcement? Robin Hood is going to be live action CGI'd for Disney Plus.
Like The Lion King?
Yeah. And I love Robin Hood. I defend it to its core against you all the time because you always tell me it's boring.
It is boring.
Robin Hood is fantastic.
It's gonna be fucking terrible. This is just explicit. I don't care anymore. It's gonna be terrible.
And it's boring. Get ready for that. Maybe they'll add more action.
I would say maybe it'll be more interesting. So will that like really
He's
like in? But it's like it's
dodging arrows.
Yes. But it's gonna be
but you know what? At least they're putting it on Disney Plus and not trying to make you go out and spend money on it.
And I would tell you, Lady and the Tramp.
I'll take that.
Did you see Lady and the Tramp? Because I would tell you, it actually wasn't terrible.
I watched 15 minutes of it.
It wasn't bad.
I just never got back to it because there are things to watch.
But
I put it on and then was like, oh, let's just do this.
No, I mean, like I appreciate that they're just putting it on Disney Plus. So kudos on you for making a full-length film and that you're putting it on there. But it wasn't bad.
But is it because they can't put it in theaters right now?
Lady and the Tramp, no, they did before they.
No, I'm saying
maybe.
Like
they're saying that because they put it to Disney Plus, Onward is actually successful, as opposed to if they had not put it on Disney Plus, it would have just tanked. Which is unfortunate because I told you I thought it was good.
That's interesting because I can't imagine more people started buying Disney Plus to watch Onward.
I think they may have banked it off of like who's watching it, like viewing time more than anything.
Not like money. Okay, that makes more sense.
But anyway, yep. John Henry, go watch it. Doesn't fucking matter.
Nope. Watch it. Don't. I tell you what.
You want to watch Terry Crews swinging a hammer? Go for it. 10 minutes.
You want to watch Terry Crews swinging a hammer? Fast forward to the very end of John Henry, or watch the trailer. You watch the trailer.
Makes it seem
watch
like
the whole
that's
movie.
all it is.
Although I am BJ Henry and my dick is legendary, might be a scene worth watching. Can I just let me see if I can just Google
A
that?
T-shirt? Can we get that on a T-shirt?
God, I'll make one.
It is all the because I have captions on because I'm deaf, but not really deaf, but I can't hear well, and so I always have captions on, and it literally just on the full screen. My name is BJ Henry. My dick's legendary. All right.
You should just watch the movie again and say which timestamps you should watch, and just fast forward through the rest.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's just that part. And
There's nothing in the beginning. The very middle where he says, "My name's BJ Henry and my dick's legendary," and then the end when he's murdering people. Stephanie, do you have any questions about this film? Not saying anything about it.
Why did you watch it?
Well, because Ludacris has a gold jaw.
You
And
saw
Terry Crews is in it.
you saw the trailer. It looked like a fun movie.
How did you hear about it? Since
Trailer.
No one knew
Quarantine,
about
Stephanie. Quarantine.
I feel like I saw a trailer on YouTube.
I sent it to you
Oh, that feels fair.
because I'm quarantined. I'm looking for things to do, and I was like, "Oh, what's this movie? How long ago did this come out? A couple months ago." Like,
You see
okay,
Terry Crews and you see Ludacris, and you're like, obviously, I'm going to watch this.
yeah, this has got to be good.
I feel like if it was
Average.
recommended to me on Netflix, I'd probably watch it.
It's not on Netflix. You have to pay $5 for it. But yes, anybody that's watching, make sure you guys go check out John Henry, or don't actually just watch more of the episodes that we've done here.
Yeah, watch our stuff. Comment down below.
Below. Steve, where can they reach us on?
We do have social media. We have an Instagram. We have a Facebook. We have a Twitter. They are all Friendship Supreme except for Twitter. Twitter has no eyes because all eyes are here on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com and search Friendship Supreme. You could always hit up our Patreon and give us more money to pay for more John Henry. That is patreon.com/Friendship Supreme. We also have an email, which is just friendship.supreme@gmail.com.
Because otherwise, at this point, we're just paying for John Henry with our own pocket money. Both Cleve and I's spouses are eventually going to kill us for it.
We'll figure it out eventually.
Separate accounts.
And I think that's all of the social medias that we need.
That sounds accurate. If you guys have any other films you would like us to check out, terrible, good, amazing, either way, let us know. We'll make
Comment.
Stephanie watch it.
And then go anywhere that you can find podcasts. We're also on Libsyn, Spotify and iTunes.
Spotify,
all
iTunes, Stitcher,
all on the big stuff. Like, they just asked, and we were like, yeah, you can put our audio there.
Google Play Music. I think we're on too. I mean, at this point, the only one we're not on is Pandora, and it's honestly because I have higher expectations than Pandora can meet.
I tell you, I use Pandora still. Make fun of me, and then like the old guy was like, yeah, on my Pandora, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't be using it anymore.
Right. No, it's AOL.com of music streaming. Spotify, Google Play Music, iTunes. That's where we're at, man.
You know why, man? Because I already have an account there, and I just don't want to rebuild.
Anyway, I've been Michael.
This is Cleve.
This is Stephanie.
And my dick is legendary.
Terry.
Why are you picking food out of Terry Crews' mouth? I guess if he asked me to, I would. He's so nice. Maybe.
But it's not like you have a premium account. You should have a free account.
But if I watch an ad, I do. All I have to do is watch an ad, and they're like, okay, you can have whatever you want.